Yeah, they're totally unrelated, right? Sure. All right, what is going on, guys? Man arrested after explosive device found on rail car in Idaho. There's been a pattern for what has been going on in the last 48 hours. I mean, heck, we're only 2 days into 2025, and there's already absolutely a super narrative being pushed right now. Man arrested after this explosive was found in a rail car. He was arrested in connection with the discovery of an improvised explosive device attached to a rail car in the town of Payette, the Idaho statement says. Brent Shirai of Payette was arrested on New Year's Day after the police followed footprints through fresh snow leading to the rail car, which had the police called an unexploded pipe style device of PVC plastic attached to a step. It says police have received report of a suspicious person attempting to light something on fire near the rail car. Wow, how convenient is that they walk up and they just happen to see fresh snow tracks and they catch the guy. These are some regular Sherlock Holmes, right? Following literal tracks all the way up to the guy and saying, there he is, and catching the guy doing this. I'm assuming we're going to see what kind of guy this is pretty soon. Union Pacific was contacted and held rail traffic through the area for 5 hours. The Nampa Police Department bomb squad used a robot to remove the device and detonate it, the Payette Police Department said. Shirai, originally booked into the Payette County Jail on outstanding misdemeanor warrants, was later charged with felony possession of a destructive device and felony possession of a controlled substance, as well as misdemeanors for possession of drug paraphernalia and resisting arrest. Additional charges are pending while the FBI continues its investigation. It says that the police chief said, just trying to make a loud explosion or loud boom. He said he did not have any intentions of damaging property or harming anyone. So he actually said that this guy was just trying to make a loud explosion. It was New Year's Day, so was he just trying to make a big boom? Or was this something that they're going to frame as a Homeland T attack, right? I guess we will see. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about, of course, some of the craziest stuff that is happening just in the first 48 hours. A new update about New Orleans that will absolutely put you on your back. We'll talk about all of this in just a moment. So chat, stay there. We'll be right back. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam McKay Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. I just want to make sure we do something real quick here. I don't know why that changed back, so just want to make sure nobody is confused. We are on the right show. Okay, so let's get right into it. Let's bring in my co-host / internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Fugle fam. I'm doing just fine.
Now, as far as the man arrested with the explosive device, I have a feeling that we're going to see a lot over the next week of the same kind of stories. And by the way, what happened to the drones flying over Jersey? They always say, like, how to spot a op is that they talk about it, they'll cover it across the board, and then there's just like no updates. Like, people have forgotten about the drones over the country. All of that is just gone. Now we're on to homegrown T attacks, right?
Exactly. And, look, who was it? B&B Home said in chat that I-85, the exit 44 in South Carolina, was shut down today during rush hour because a truck driver had claimed that they had a boom boom. And sure enough, I looked it up. Certainly, they had the entire interstate shut down, and it was a big rig sitting out there, and they had a threat that they were dealing with. They did say they finally got the driver in custody, but they haven't announced yet if there was anything specific to the actual threat. So yeah, we're going to hear a lot of these things, I think, now.
Dustin Royal says they dropped their creamy fog spray and moved on. Yeah, whatever the fog is too. If you haven't seen the short video that we just did over on that, please go over and watch that, and make sure to share that with friends and family. I-85 north and south, our major interstate in Greenville, South Carolina, was shut down. A truck driver was pulled. Wait, is that the same one, or is that something?
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Okay, because I was wondering. I would not be surprised if you saw smaller events that are not getting nationwide coverage all of a sudden popping up. So locally in all of our states, we're feeling like, oh my gosh, there's all these T attacks everywhere, and you got to watch out every corner. If there are so many like that and they end up not getting any coverage, or they end up not being what they say they are, that's when you should be really suspicious, especially when they're framing things like this just to scare you. But at the same point, we are now in 2025, one of the most predicted to be the most unpredictable years ever. Not to mention, we are now still 18 days away from a power change, which is the most controversial power change in U.S. history. So if you think about what has been attempted on the next prez, it would be no surprise if there's something else up the sleeves of the people that don't like him. Thank you. Carol says, love y'all. Hey, thank you so much, and I appreciate the super chat. Nice to see Joy Calhoun in the chat. Thank you. Tracy, Navy Proud Mom. We've got Susie Q, Sandy 89107, Briar Patch, Stephanie Munoz, John. Nice to see you. T. Gillum. Lots of new names. Philosopher. We've got M. St. G. OG, let's see here. Molnir's Wrath. We have Sean C., Roxanne, and so many more. Thank you, Tracy, as well, for being here, and Rashid. All right, so let's see here. Let's go into the update that will put you on your back. So the New Orleans ISIS, and I say that on purpose, this T attacker who was taken out by police before being questioned, him and the guy that loaded up the Cybertruck took himself out before anybody could question him as well. They both served at Fort Bragg. This is an odd thing, and of course now you're going to see, because certain people are covering this now, they're going to latch onto this and go, oh, now people are trying to say this. Well, yeah, I mean, it's something that should be pointed out. But one thing to point out is that it is being pointed out across the board. All the medias are covering this. So I think that this is something they want you to know. I think that this is something that they want you to think about, that they want you to be aware of. As far as they're saying that they both serve there, there's also people pointing out that a certain gentleman, the second guy at the golf course, not the one at the speech, but the second one that was in the bushes at the golf course that tried to take Prezi out, he supposedly, and that this is what people are claiming, is that he spent time there as well, or visited there, or did something, right? So you're going to hear that fort being mentioned a bunch now. But it is very crazy to me that they're saying that this is completely unrelated, considering what these guys had in common. Not to mention, I think it's very weird that they were both electric vehicles. They both, of course, had these weird circumstances. And then, of course, the guy in the Cybertruck, apparently they can't actually ID the guy because he is so charred. And he ended up taking himself out right before. They say that the one thing they can tell is that he basically didn't want to perish in the fire kind of way and did it the other way. I think about how electric vehicles in the future, and I think it's so weird. There's a story that we're going to be covering tonight that is so absolutely crazy because we've talked about this for years. They are talking about how they are already implementing in the UK this AI system that identifies, or a camera that can identify drunk drivers and stop your car. In the near future, if the police, or if you have a warrant, the police could literally stop your car, even pull you over if they wanted to. If you think that I'm full of it, go look for yourself. This is something that they want passed, and that I believe it might have already passed. Dex, did that thing actually go through here in the U.S. after a certain year that cars are going to have to start putting some sort of system that does it? I think that we just don't know what kind of system that is, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's fully passed, but I have a sneaking suspicion the technology is going to be there waiting to be turned on.
So, and there's a point to this. So it's a technology that is very easy. Movies have had it for a very long time. If you see movie car stunts and things like that, somebody can be sitting there with a remote control and be driving a full-size car with a remote control. These guys... I'm not saying that they did this, but it is so sus that both of these guys were soldiers like this. Both of them had served in the same place. I mean, yes, that is extremely sus. And they're making it, essentially, the message here is that our military are full of these really horrible people that want to take out our own country, and that they've been, radicalized, essentially. It says both men behind Wednesday's dual suspected T attacks in New Orleans and Las Vegas previously served on the same North Carolina Army base. The Post has learned both the guy who took 15 people out in New Orleans when he rammed his truck into New York crowd in Bourbon Street was an Army veteran who lived in Fayetteville in 2012. He was assigned to the Army's 82nd Airborne Division, which is headquartered at Bragg. Now Fort Liberty in 2013, according to a Facebook post by the division's 1st Brigade Combat Team in November 2013. The Cybertruck guy, Matthew Livelsberger, which, again, I don't know how they even knew that, considering, I guess, from cameras before, was an active duty Green Beret when he rented his Tesla truck exploded at the entrance of the T-Man Hotel in Las Vegas. So he was an active Green Beret. This just does not make sense. Something about this is so off to me. Dex, go ahead.
Yeah, you asked the question. You don't know how they know that. This is the crazy part. Just like other events, his ID survived.
So that's right.
Originally,
that's right.
Yeah, they found his ID with a little bit of char mark on it, with his picture and his name on it, and that's how they said who it was until they could officially identify him, because they said he was so badly burned he was burnt beyond recognition, so they couldn't identify him. But they claimed it was him.
Does that not remind you of 2001?
Yeah, it does.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. That's the first thing I thought. They conveniently find the badge, and it's perfect.
Yep, they even put a picture up of it. And then the other thing, the person who tried, I think it was the golf course incident with the Dawn. Remember the guy hiding in the bushes with the bang bang? I think he also went to the same location. He wasn't in the server, but he visited 100 times apparently that location in that fort that they're talking about here.
Yep,
Liberty, as they call it.
Bet you they're going to latch onto that, and because certain people are reporting it, they're going to say, "Oh,
Yep."
So watch this.
Well, and it makes it's also an easy target. It's a very easy target because of the fact that it is one of the largest, but it also has Jase and Air Command or Airborne or something else. There's a whole bunch of high-end elites that are there, which means there's a whole lot of integration and or collaboration, probably I should say, with three-letter agencies, right? So there's been a long history of that at that location. So it makes it just really ripe for these conspiracies to spin up, for sure.
Yeah, this is odd. Carol says, I feel like I'm watching and living a movie. We the people, it's not what it seems. The one who did incident had amounted a lot of debt, and many of business failed and put him in more debt. Here's one thing I would say: if they were going to pick somebody for something, just say hypothetically, if there were groups that would pick somebody to try to put something on, would they pick somebody that's in perfect standing that has no reason to do something like this, or would they pick somebody that they already know is basically in insurmountable debt, that is in a position where they've got nothing to live for? Just saying. This whole 2 days has been really, really funky. I am just questioning everything. Again, these very well could be, homegrown T attacks, and that there's more of this coming. One thing to think about is T-Man actually warned us that Iran had planned things that made 2001 look like chicken feed. That they were talking about nationwide events around the Pick the Prez Day back in November. What if that was delayed? Obviously, Syria just got taken over. That was very, very connected with everything that was going on in the Middle East. So I think we are going to see a response from that, the other agencies that come out and do something like this. Hypothetically, though, in another world, think about if you could have put a couple guys in a rented vehicle, somehow jimmy them so they're doing a normal thing, or maybe they're getting paid. Maybe they responded to some sort of ad or security service, and they got hired for a job, and they're like, hey, we got to keep this on the low. We need you to take this load to T-Man Tower. You got some stuff in the back of the truck. You can't ask about it. You just go take it there. That's all you have to do. We'll pay you $10,000. The guy gets there, and then something pops up, or somebody pops up and goes pap pap, and then it goes boom or something. What if he got locked in there or something? What if the whole thing, he lost control of it? Both of these were electric vehicles. The one thing about these now is they say in the future, you look at Teslas, for gosh sakes, they'll be able to be completely autonomous. Do you think that those can be hacked? That's the other scary part, is if you could ever hack a Tesla, just like in the movie Leave the World Behind, could they drive on their own? Could they hit people? We just saw a couple weeks ago, right around the same timing. It's so weird when the tech comes out, when they do these tech releases, that you see weird events like this. For instance, when the technology of voice cloning went public, and they're like, oh, you can take 3 seconds of anybody's voice and clone it. Within like a day of that being announced, all of a sudden there was a audio tape that had him saying he was doing all this stuff. And I bet he does do nasty stuff. Not trying to get in a debate about that guy, but I just thought it was interesting. Even if it's the most nasty person in the world, if somebody does fake a audio tape or something, you can't believe audio. You can't believe video anymore, because both can be faked. Both can be AI driven, right? Both can be done with AI. Cloning a voice. Now you can't even trust an audio recording. How are they going to take audio as evidence in a court when it can be made by AI? And heck, if it's a government AI, there wouldn't be tags and things that you could identify that it was fake, right? So in the case of this, it's like there's this technology. Just a week and a half ago, you see Elon hopping in a Tesla, and it drives him away without a driver. And then all of a sudden you have these events. Now you have this other technology that's coming out. They're talking about how they're rolling out in the UK an automatic camera that will be able to detect if somebody's drunk. These are the same kinds of systems that will also be able to pull you over in the future if the police suspect you of something, or if you have a warrant to your name and they see your plates. They'll be able to push a button on their squad car when they're within range, and they'll be able to have your car slowly pull over. They'll be able to lock your doors. They'll be able to lock you in. If you think that this isn't coming, then you're smoking something. So I just question it, and I'm not saying that that's what this is. Again, that would be an injustice to say anything is fact. especially since there are real people involved on the other end of this. There are people that lost loved ones. But I do think that people should question everything and look at all the angles. And then we have, of course, the guy in the Cybertruck explosion is married, soldier from Colorado Springs. Dex, do you want to go over? This is a weird fact here.
Well, the main thing here is they're just trying to tie back the negative sentiment of his wife to the Dawn. They have to go all the way back to 2015, 2016. So there's not a lot of social media content on either one of them. But she did put out quite a bit of anti-Dawn rhetoric on her social media. So that's the important part here.
But on the other hand, you see posts saying that he was a big fan, that he was actually a supporter. Did you see those?
I've seen them say that. I haven't seen. They also said that he didn't have any social media either. So
yeah. Which is another huge flag. Just saying. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. By the way, thank you again. Thank you, Dar. Thank you, Demichella. Thank you. I think I'm saying that right. Lord McCormick, thank you for the support this week. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Josh Williams. And then thank you for somebody just popped in and gifted a couple memberships. Thank you. I appreciate that. Baron Saturday, Raquel R. See her. Thank Briar Patch. Nice to see you as well. Sean C. Thanks, Bobby Sue, for modding. Make sure to go check out the mods over at marfooglenews.com/friends. And then haunting video of the Cybertruck, Matthew Liversberger, as his wife is linked to disturbing anti-T-Man. So we basically went over all of this. But again, we have this linked over on the website, marfooglenews.com, so you can actually go see this, and it is linked. All you have to do is go to this article. It is, I believe, the third down, and you'll be able to actually access that. There is a lot of weird information, and it just keeps getting weirder. Of course, they say he took himself out in the front seat before all of this happened. In both cases, there's no one to question about it besides other people. By the way, there was other things about the New Orleans guy. His brother said that this was almost unreal, that it was so contradictory to who he was as a person. Both folks around these people said that this was just so uncharacteristic that they couldn't see them as the person. Now, again, you probably wouldn't, right? In the real case of something, if somebody was turning into something like a terrorist or something, you probably wouldn't know. They would probably hide it. But at the same time, it might carry some weight that people are literally saying that this is so unlike these people. It's unreal. Like it just doesn't exist. To me, that's something you also have to look at. Dex, go ahead.
Well, the interesting thing that if you look at the timing of the vehicle pulling into the Dawn's place there, it was there for 15 seconds and then it goes boom. He pulls in and presumably he's driving. Obviously they say there's no one else in the vehicle, but they also said that he had had a self-inflicted, bang bang thing that they're saying, I guess, was the cause of his perishing before that. So how did that happen? And he get there? Do we know if the car was self-driven there? I mean, the car is actually capable of that. Have they released that? Pay attention. Maybe they'll come out and tell us that the self-driving was on. Maybe that happened before. If he did that there were witnesses that were right there at the event. Did they hear a crack beforehand? And then what did he use to create the event in the trunk if he's already perished? Or did he have some sort of delayed event that he started and then took his life, right? How does that work? There's a lot of questions to this that I think everybody needs to
timer.
Ask.
He could have set a timer, but at the same time, they showed that the back end of the truck, they said he was too charred to even identify. Yet his badge was perfectly fine. It almost looked like the top was charred. If you look at the back of the truck, it looks like the fire went through the top window. Would he not have the bottom of his feet, possibly even his hands? Were his hands so badly done like that? The thing is they said it actually contained a lot of it in that. So if you were sitting in the front seat, 2 seats forward, did that all catch fire too? From the pictures, it looked like the front seat actually did pretty well. So was the top half charred beyond identification? And then he's wearing his actual badge he's currently serving. Like, what are his friends saying? The guy has no social media, but yet he's this Green Beret. Like, this whole thing just...
Yeah, and I think we need to, you could have seen, there would have been, usually there's a flash when a hand device like that goes off, right? So you would think that you'd be able to see that. People have watched the vehicle go in. You don't see anything beforehand until you see the explosion. Some people say it was on the left side of him. I don't know if that's been confirmed as reported. So that would play into it, because that would be up against the window there, right? And it would be visible, at least through the cameras that were filming that. So, like, there's a lot of questions here, especially the fact that the vehicle can be self-driven, and we have not necessarily heard anything from Elon other than the telemetry was correct, meaning nothing was wrong with the vehicle. He didn't come out and say if it was self-driven or not.
Yeah, and how long was he parked before it exploded? It doesn't show it pull up, does it? I don't think there's a video.
It does. I thought it pulled up. I think they showed it pull in, because it was only there 15 seconds, so it wasn't there very long. It was park, and within 15 seconds, and no doors open, nobody gets out.
See, I've only seen the clips of it parked and then just boom. So if it pulled in, did he do it right there? Did people see him do it? One thing we do know is it put the taking himself out with a weapon did no danger to anybody because of the bulletproof windows. It's just so weird. It's almost like it was meant to look super, super weird. It's meant to put fear into people. It's meant to put doubt into people. People are arguing. People are debating. People are divided. It's a very scary time right now.
Oh, and don't forget, in Leave the World Behind, they told us that the self-driving cars were going to be used against us. So
it's very, very weird, and that everybody would be confused on who was doing it, which country was doing it. I mean, you got a white guy, Green Beret, and then somebody from ISIS, and this thing is just weird. Now, before we move on, make sure to go check out EMP Shield. One thing that I believe will happen absolutely before anything would be an EMP. The first thing to do if you're trying to take something over is knock out power and knock out communications. This would accomplish most of that. Not only that, it would not harm a single soul directly. It would actually kill 90% of our country. Not because we would be taken out by a blast or we'd be taking out each other. It would because it would be knocking out our infrastructure. We would not have water. We would not have gas. We would not have anything. Our entire infrastructure collapses. So again, this device, what it does is protects your personal things, your personal car, your personal trucks, motorcycles, generators, your home, your ham radio. They make a device for almost every device that you want to keep running. Again, an electromagnetic pulse, again, can be stopped by this or grounded by this, and same with a Carrington level event from the sun. Go over to marfooglenews.com/EMP. This is something that you're not going to need until you need, and when you do need it, you are absolutely going to thank yourself that you are going to be able to get home to your family to bug in or get out to bug out. Not to mention that you can keep your generators running through multiple EMP strikes and have your home with everything within 250 linear feet wired in, protected by this. So go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. It's very easy to put in, less than 10 minutes. Anybody can do it. You don't have to be a mechanic or a handyman. You can do it yourself. marfooglenews.com/EMP. It goes to help us, and you get $50 off per device. And then U.S. Army veteran who perished 15 in New Orleans was inspired by Islamic State. Well, no duh, or at least the flag would kind of give you that idea, right? But Dex, do you want to talk about why this is and I actually need you to cover this for at least about 45 seconds here. I'm going to change batteries.
Yeah, so now the interesting part about this apparently is they're obviously saying that he... one of the things they're saying in this article, in addition to the fact that it's the IS group, is that he was acted alone. And this is what's so controversial now, because we've heard numerous times there's other people involved. They're investigating other people. They don't think he acted alone. And now the FBI is coming out and reversing its position, saying that he did act alone. I don't, maybe this is part of the story. Maybe this is part of the truth. I have no idea. Take it for what you want. They are saying that he was obviously turned into that group, that IS group. I want to say they said it happened back in the summertime. So that's not that long ago. Less than a year. I'd say, 6 months at best, right? So that's very rather interesting that they bring about that idea for this, and that's what they want everybody to believe. But I'll tell you this: we also had a I don't want to release their name, and I'll give you this email that we got from Marfoogle fam. They thought it would be an interesting data point. They work at an automobile location. Well, I'm trying to keep it generic, but the FBI came to their location and talked to them because the truck had been used at that location to recharge during its journey. This is the Louisiana incident, and they said in the process of that interview that they were looking at the other two accomplice vehicles that were there at the same time, suggesting that there was potentially 8 individuals involved. So now maybe they're coming out and saying all of that has been investigated and none of it holds up and it's just a lone person. But that's what they're trying. This article says that they've confirmed he acted alone. But that email I'm telling you came from a Marfoogle fam member that worked there and was interviewed by some people from the Fed investigation group.
So it very well might be a super exclusive, but there's only so much we can do to verify it, right? And then man arrested after explosive device found. Okay, we covered that in the beginning. NATO is working to reroute data through space, fearing that Russia could slice underwater internet cables. So the cables have been coming up just month after month for at least the last year. At least once a month, we have heard about these underwater sea cables. Now, in my brain, I thought that if they ever did this, they would just do it all at once and it would be done. I was very surprised to see that all of these different ships were knocking out little cables here and there. I wondered, because if then you'd kind of be giving the heads up to your enemy, like, hey, we can take these out, and that they would do something about it. But there's only so much you can do. They're underwater sea cables. It's not like even if we had a Navy all the way along our main connection between us and Europe, our hard line, extremely important, especially if we lose everything else like an EMP or lose satellites. But we can't realistically protect these. So it's kind of crazy, Dex, in the way that we can't really protect our underwater sea cables. We could try to make them better, or there's maybe somebody can invent a better way to do it, but there's really no protecting our hard lines between these countries and the internet and everything else. And then once they're destroyed, they take a while to actually fix. But now they're trying to reroute data. What does that say?
Well, they're definitely worried about the problem because it is an easy it's an easy attack. It's an easy way to take out something. While at one hand we said, hey, we got to get data across, from one landmass to another, and now we have this great technology. We can just lay cable across the ocean and look at what we can do. But then, in the fact of the matter is that by doing that, we also created this opportunity that it's really easy to destroy that because we didn't really put it in a way that it could withstand sabotage. It's not like it's buried under the seabed. It's laying on top of it. It's not like it's encased in anything heavy and strong that can withstand the tug of an anchor in a ship. Unfortunately, it's not. So all of that, on one hand, we made these great advancements, and now we're realizing that it created a very easy target that has a significant impact. I mean, when you take out the data routing between, just imagine if you had no connectivity between America and Europe, that would be huge. It would be a massive, massive problem. It would have financial implications. It would create a lot of chaos, and it wouldn't be fixed overnight. It would take months to repair that.
And they've talked about the plans like Operation Starfall. They talk about SpaceX as potential, replacements if something happened, that we would be able to still keep in contact. But, in the case of this, I think that if they're worried about the cables, one thing that we should be worried about is if the cables are knocked out, that wouldn't be something that would be done without trying to knock out all of the major systems. If you knocked out the cables, that would be done at the same time. Unless it was just like an FU, it would be done at the same time as trying to knock down our grid. The only thing elite want is for us to be good slaves working and paying taxes. And if SHTF happened, that would change, and they don't want that. But that's the thing. They don't make those taxes just go. They're not making money from the government. They're making money from the corporations. And the corporations are making it from the government. They're so far in debt, they don't care about our taxes don't matter. Here's one thing. Do you think our taxes matter when we're $34 trillion in debt? They can just print money. They don't need to get our taxes. Our taxes don't equal out and like we're all squared up because we pay our taxes. Our taxes, go towards, it doesn't really, it's a messed up system in itself. But if you think that all of us paying our taxes is like, making up for what they're spending, they don't care about that. They can pass a law. If there's an event where 2 million people die, they can then put in a law that requires all the military industrial complex companies to be working full time for 10 years straight. And who's invested in those? The elite. They have tons and tons of money into the industrial complex. And then on top of that, the huge companies I was talking about earlier, they practically own all 5 of those companies. They own all of the medical stuff that, we would use during a massive disaster. SHTF is absolutely a huge money maker. What do they lose? They lose nothing. We lose everything. They don't care about our taxes. That $34 trillion debt, basically, it doesn't matter to them. That's just my opinion, but what's yours? Let me know in the comments down below. I don't think they care about our taxes, and I don't care if they're not worried about us being slaves or worker bees either. They're going to have robots and AI being able to do everything. Do you think that they still want to deal with us or smell us or see us or even come close to us? They think that we're lesser than human. I'm telling you that there is plenty of these people that look at us like we are not even human, like we are slobs, like we're lazy. In their head, even if they got a trust fund, even if they were trust fund babies or born with the silver spoon, they believe that their family was better, that their family deserved it because of all the work that they did through generations. It's just crazy how they think. I've met a few pretty rich people, but when you see the really, really, really rich people, they're on a different level. They're not on the same level. They don't do anything that a normal person does. I'm telling you, even the ones that say they do it for image, for their corporations, and in reality, they have 50 people doing what they, need for them. Sam Altman said, I just drive a little Toyota. Bill Gates, I drive myself to work. BS. We found out all of these people that have said, I'm just a normal guy. I drive a Jeep to work, even though I have $10 billion. Bull. We all found out that in each case that they were totally full of it. So I'm sorry. I don't think they need our taxes, and I don't think that the rich elite even care if we pay them. And then China conducts naval blockade exercise in Miyako Strait. CZG ships near Senkaku Islands given stronger weapons. The Chinese Navy and the China Coast Guard in December jointly carried out activities similar to a naval blockade in the Miyako Strait, located between the main island of Okinawa and the Miyako Island. A heavily armored China Coast Guard fleet was also dispatched to areas near the Senkaku Islands in the Okinawa prefecture. It says this is the first confirmation of activities of either kind, according to multiple sources close to the government. The government has reportedly been exercising increased caution, believing that China may be considering an expanded naval blockade area in the event of a Taiwan contingency. This is an unusual move that indicates China's intention to impose a naval blockade. According to the sources, a total of 6 ships, 2 Chinese Navy Jinkai 2 class frigates and 1 Jinkai 1 class frigate, and 3 China Coast Guard vessels, including the 2901, sailed from the Pacific Ocean side to the East China side of the Miyako Strait on December 22nd. Before the move, the 3 naval ships are believed to have sailed around the island of Taiwan and Sakishima Islands counterclockwise, as if encircling them. The China Coast Guard 2901 is a 10,000-ton class ship, one of the world's largest vessels owned by maritime law enforcement agencies. 2 of the Coast Guard ships were reportedly equipped with 76-millimeter cannons, which are usually installed on military ships. So when you're also talking about all of the contingencies if they take Taiwan, they keep talking about 2027. In fact, our military says it is a matter of when, not if, this is going to happen. And a lot of the dates and the years that have been thrown out are 2027. But I think it is going to happen much sooner than that. But honestly, what's so crazy is now 2027 is so close. It really is going to go by a flash. If you think about it, 2019, which if you sat here in my chat in 2019 when all of the crazy stuff was starting, it's already been 6 years since that. That means you've been with me for 6 years. That's insane. So think about how fast 2 years will go. Heck, before a blink of an eye, we'll be in the year 2030. And all of these different agendas are going to line up. We are so close to a massive change in our world. This is why a lot of people are now prepping. And the blockades of actually trapping these places in, if you look on the map where these are, they are completely looking at containing and blocking anything in or out. This is exactly where they would do it. And before we move on, make sure to go check out Grid Down Bug Out. Again, if you haven't already, go check out all of the affiliates. But this is one of the best solar generators out there as far as this is already EMP shield protected. Now, again, some of you may already have energy. This is totally different. This is actually a higher capacity. When we were doing energy, a lot of people asked, like, hey, is there one that has higher capacity that can go bigger? Some said go big or go home, right? This is it. So the Grid Down, you can actually get 3 different units. You can get the actual main unit, which is 1.61 kilowatt hours. You can actually get the main unit with an extension at 4.29 kilowatt hours. That's 4,000 and about a third of a kilowatt of hours. And it's all EMP protected. And this unit actually gets you that 30% rebate, that tax rebate of 30%. So if you actually want to power an entire home, this is the company you would call. They even make sort of a Tesla wall competitor. This is actually better in my opinion. It is all EMP shield protected. This is the company to go through. So the one downside of the energy was the actual limit in the capacity. When you are going bigger, this is the company to do it with. They've directly teamed up with EMP Shield. We waited a very long time. I didn't pick up other generators for 8 or 9 months in between because we were waiting for this. I did not want to recommend a generator that I didn't absolutely believe in. This company is going to be, I think, one of the best sellers because of how they're doing it and the fact that they are teamed up with EMP Shield. EMP Shield, of course, comes with all of these. So go to marfooglenews.com/bugout. Also, think about this. Some people will see on the bigger units, they'll go, oh my gosh, how would I afford that? Some of the bigger units, you would be able to actually replace your grid connection. So think about that. You wouldn't have to actually get power from the city or from a power line. But again, some of these smaller units, these are massively awesome units. Make sure to go check them out. marfugglenews.com/bugout, and make sure to use the code MARF. I'll be doing a review on one of these very soon, so make sure to tune in for that. I do believe in it, and it has straight up a 30 amp port right in the back if you are in an RV, so make sure to go check it out. It helps support us, and you'll get through any storm with ease with some of these bigger units. That's why I think that they are awesome. And then Russian officers trained for attacks on Japan, South Korea in event of war with NATO. So, Dex, this is a big deal because they are already kind of chittering about this. Over the last 2 days, everybody's been focusing on everything that's happening at home. But overseas, there's some pretty big things buzzing.
Well, certainly with all the discussion about an Asian NATO, with the fact that we've been moving potential missile systems into Japan, Russia had threatened a while back that if the U.S. is going to move missiles there, or the West via, as they would call it, NATO, even though Japan's not part of NATO, are moving missiles there, that they may move their missiles closer into those contested areas. And that all plays to the fact that Eastern Russia, geographically speaking, runs all the way over to North Korea, and has contested islands with Japan, and Japan has conflicts with them. Apparently, some documents. These are older documents, but they're still absolutely relevant. So don't let the older dates here sort of scare you. But they came out. They were reported that these documents show about how they were developing offensive plans to target civilian and military sites in Japan and in South Korea in the event of a war with NATO. So the leaked plans were drawn up between 2008 and 2014 to train the military officers for the potential conflict on Russia's eastern flank, and reportedly still considered relevant to their strategy today. They outline 160 potential targets, including civilian and military infrastructure such as roads, bridges, factories, and military installations in NATO-allied Japan and South Korea. The plans detailed how striking these targets could protect Russia's eastern flank in the broader conflict by disrupting the regrouping of troops in areas of operational purpose. So, again, bringing to light some information, shedding it as at the same time making sure that we're all well aware that there's this conflict brewing between Russia and the West, and it goes not only to Europe, but it also brings its way all the way over to South Korea and Japan, obviously two big U.S. allies, and an area in which we understand there's going to be conflict.
And notice it's been a lot of Germany for Boris Pistorius and his under staff have been commenting like crazy. Have you noticed that, Dex? Germany and France have been two proponents that have been heavily involved in this. I mean,
yes.
It's like history repeating itself.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They are definitely at the forefront of bringing about the, oncoming conflict with Russia.
They've been pointing out that they've been pointing out to their own people too, to the German people. They've been telling them straight up, prepare for war. We're in 2025 too. Mind you, if you have any faith in the stuff we've talked about for many years now, we are in that year. We are in the year. If there's any gut feeling that you've had about this year, I would say listen to it, because we are finally here. We're at 2025. This is the make it or break it. The stuff we've talked about for years. Look at what is coming to a head. Look at what everything has compiled into right now. Everything has added up to 2025. And it's very concerning to see that 7-8 years ago we were talking about this year, and to see over time how many things are now coming to a head. Everything. Just the last 4 years we've looked at our own country here in the U.S. Something is being set up. Massive events. And it's happening. It's happening right in front of our eyes. It's like they waited until New Year's Day. They were like, oh, let's kick it off. I bet you every day for the next week we're going to see something massive. I think every day of this year we're going to see something massive happen. And then new AI cameras, which can tell if a driver are drunk, are rolled out on UK roads. Find out if they're popping up near you. Now, I will tell you this. I think people should be fighting this. This is just my personal opinion. I'm not telling you to do anything stupid. But I think people should be writing their local Congress if this is ever tried to be done here. Now, they have already said things in Congress. They've already tried to pass bill. Dex, can you see what the comments were? The last stories we covered about this actually talked about this. They are trying to get in certain requirements for car manufacturers to have a certain technology. I believe what it was is they wanted by 2025. Initially, I think the year was 2025, which back then we were kicking the rock down the road. Everybody's like, it's 2022. Who cares? That's 2025. We're in 2025 right now. They were saying that they wanted manufacturers of cars to have this in the vehicles. Now, it might have been moved up to 2028 or 2030, something like this, or 2027. This is a huge deal. You're talking about putting the same technology that will be able to pull you over, that will be able to stop your car from running. Think about any friend you've had that has had a DUI interface or interlock on their car. Think about that. Only think about what if it's misused. Think about if the government says, oh, well, that vehicle has an interlock on it. This person's wanted. They could push one button and pull you over. Well, somebody that says, hey, well, I'm not a criminal. I don't care if that happens. Well, what if you're in the wrong place in the wrong time? What if you're at a 7-Eleven and they geofence your phone being there at the same time or within 5 minutes of somebody getting taken out with the 45? And there's no cameras. Somehow the power went out in that 10 minutes and your phone was spotted at that 7-Eleven where this guy was taken out. And you're wrongfully accused. They could literally pull your car over and put you in jail. I mean, like, this should never be a thing. And it's going to be. I've talked about this for years. And it absolutely should not come to the U.S. And it's already coming into the U.K. New AI cameras that can catch drunk drivers in the act have been rolled out with footage revealing the exact moment they were installed. The state-of-art tech, developed by AccuSensus, works by scanning passing cars for telltale signs of impaired driving. New footage spots officers carefully placing the cameras at strategic roadside locations in Devon and Cornwall. Swerving, dodgy speeds, or erratic braking. The cameras spot it all and instantly alert nearby police, who swoop in for a closer look. In just minutes, the sleek high-tech kit is live and ready to sniff out offenders. So again, they're going to put these all over the place and try to spy you. If you're on your phone too, that might actually get you pulled over as well. But what I'm really worried about is when they start putting out these things inside your cars and they spot you for when you are supposedly drunk or tired, and they're able to pull your car over, because the same technology that is able to do that will be able to pull you over. And by the way, these cameras, think about this, with the new electric vehicles and how all the vehicles are going to be electric after a certain amount of time. Think about this. They will be able to turn those cars off. They will be able to pull those cars over. All the cars are going towards the autonomous route. What's funny is everybody loves Elon, and there's a lot of stuff that he says that I absolutely love too. But I think about how, in the end, he's calling for deregulation. He's out about the corporate needs. He's bringing about autonomous cars, which are going to kill all Uber, all self-driving. It may turn into a thing where you won't even be able to drive yourself. He's bringing about robots that are going to replace us, AI that will power those robots and be able to replace us. And he's bringing about Neuralink. He's bringing about all sorts of stuff. So I just get spooked out by this kind of stuff. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Dex, these things should be pushed back on. I mean, like, I'm sure the UK is not too happy about this. I wonder, like other towers that have been monitors, I wonder if people are going to go out and try to do things to them.
I'm sure there's going to be pushback to some extent. The question is, can they reach them? A lot of these cameras are pretty high, but it's almost inevitable. As much as I think nobody wants it, I don't think we can get away from it. It's coming. Like, they've already put cameras everywhere, so it's just a matter of time before they upgrade the camera to the next version, and or add a software to the monitoring system of the existing camera that has smart enough AI capability to detect and look at the picture and say, oh, I can see that car is acting erratically, which is what they're saying here. So I think we're, whether it be, identifying cars this way, we're already there. I mean, it's just the privacy is gone in public. And I guess maybe that's part of it, because you are in public. You have to give that up. But it's just not, I don't think it's good. I don't think people want it. Most people will say no, but I'm sure most people are also of the opinion, well, I don't drink and drive, so I don't care. Let them put the cameras up. But, they've got these high-speed cameras on cars that read your plates within split seconds and can tell them if they need to pull you over or not. They've got all sorts of stuff that they've been advancing and deploying all across, even America. I know this is in the UK, but it's already here, guys. And I think it's too late to think that it's not going to happen.
Yeah, this is all part of a huge push to have everything monitored as far as travel. And UK, once they clamp that down, it will be coming to us next. I promise. And then mystery is thick fog sweeps the U.S. with reports of burning chemical smell. Before we cover this, I do want to just remind you real quick, make sure to go check out Jase. Just a quick mention, marfooglenews.com/Jase, and use the code MARF to save on a kit that has all of your most commonly prescribed antibiotics. Again, it's a huge deal to have all of those in one handy kit. You can also get actual add-ons like albuterol or emergency breathers. You talk to a board-certified doctor in a telehealth appointment from the comfort of your couch, from your phone, tablet, or computer, and you're done. They're going to be shipped right to your door. It's extremely easy. It's very, very convenient. And again, it's a very, very smart thing to have for any disaster. It could be anything, a natural disaster like a hurricane, a fire, earthquake. It doesn't have to be the end of the world. Also, they have something called Jase Daily, which is a 12-month extended supply of your prescription meds. So if tomorrow the lights go out, you'll have a year of your regular meds that you may be dependent on. Sometimes people have meds that they can't quit. They can't just go cold turkey off their meds. So go check if they have it at marfooglenews.com/Jase. Make sure to use the code MARF. It helps support us. We are on our own. And then this thick fog. So we talked about this on a short, which I highly recommend you go see. But mainly, I want to get your opinion in the chat. Make sure to comment down below, too, for those replay watchers. Have you experienced this? You'll be amazed at the list of actual places this was in. And this is all over the country that they're having this. Now, I first thought, well, this is right before the polar vortex. There's going to bring in a fog. And maybe it's just bringing in air from the sea. I don't know. But one thing I do trip about is the fact that there's that smell, and now we're going to have this polar vortex. They've told us we're going to have the coldest temperatures ever on record, right? It's probably going to be a disaster in a lot of places. I mean, look at Texas when they froze over. My brother-in-law got stuck in one of the worst snowstorms ever. An event like that happens, but happens all across the bottom of the United States. That's a disaster. That's a really bad disaster. And that's what they're saying is coming. Is any of that, with the technology they have now, with the advancements they have now, could that be triggered? That's what some people are asking. This fog, a lot of you have actually emailed us and said that it's a creamy fog. That was one description, that you could put your hand out. You could basically put it in your hand. Somebody related it to if you've ever taken a shower with hard water, how it doesn't matter how much you shower or use soap, it always feels like there's something on you, like that the soap isn't washing off, that the water isn't washing off. If you've ever taken a shower at like a cabin with hard water, It just feels mucky. It feels slimy. That's what they describe this fog as. Does it actually have chemicals in it? Are these chemicals a precursor to what's going to come next? That's what people are asking. Dex, you haven't experienced this, but Georgia could get this, right? Is this moving up? Because over the last couple of days, they said that it's in more and more places.
Well, that's the interesting thing because I don't know if it necessarily is a movement as far as it just appears, because fog comes from the change of temperature and the dew points and the humidity that changes with the rapid change or the changing of the temperature. So it just sort of appears. But what has got, I guess, everybody questioning is the smells that they're getting. And again, I don't know, is this just people are becoming aware of it, kind of like they started looking up and they started identifying every airplane as a drone? Or, or is it just, one person said sniff it and now everybody's sniffing and they go, well, it does smell different because maybe they never paid attention to the smell. But I think the question is like, where, if there is something that many people are saying they're getting potentially feeling sick or getting sick feelings from, or sensing a strong chemical smell, that's probably the more concerning part. Like, where is that coming from? Because the fog is just amplifying it. The humidity of that moist air makes it easy for you to smell everything that's in the air. So that means something's there. It was there when the fog goes away. It's still there. It's just maybe you don't smell it as much. But that's a good question. Is like, all of a sudden, are we getting this and we haven't realized it? Whatever this is.
And that's the thing. People are saying it's rolling in. So you've always heard like a fog. Oh, there's a fog rolling in. Like you said, that's the temperature changing. So really, it's just the temperature. The wind comes in and then it changes the temperature and it creates this fog, right? Well, they're saying it's almost rolling in like a smoke. Like it's a mix between fog and smoke. It's a smog, right? The weirdest part is the taste and the smell, said Bamber. It smells like after you set off a bunch of fireworks, and the taste of the air is toxic. It is super weird. And the NWS, National Weather Service, can't explain it. Nobody can exactly explain why everybody is smelling this, tasting this. And it is reported all over the place. There's some people that are very respectable Fugel family members in respectable positions that are saying exactly this. People that, you'd go, okay. You're talking about lawyers and doctors saying this is really weird. Again, not like there isn't a single institution that people still trust, but you get what I'm saying. Not people that aren't, digging ditches every single day. And you're talking about people with multiple master's degrees going, hey, this is really weird. I don't know. It seems off to me. Dex, go ahead.
Well, I said it in the last show, and you guys should go look it up if you want an interesting old story, but back from 1994, the Oakville Blobs. Another similar type event where things were dropping from the sky. It was like goo falling down, and the people that touched it or messed with it and took samples of it got sick. Even some people said their pets died from it. And it happened multiple times there in state of Washington, and people can't explain it. And they've tested it and couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, gelatinous blobs reported rain down on the timber town of Oakville back in the summer of 1994, kicking off a mystery that would come to be known as the Oakville Blobs. Exactly what the jelly rain consisted had residents spooked, and several reporting that they became unwell and animals perished as the Oakville Blobs rained down. That is weird. And this is in my Washington or Washington, D.C.? This is my Washington?
No, it's your Washington state.
1994, so I was 8. So yeah, I probably wouldn't have remembered that. What do you guys think? Have you experienced it? Do you have video of it? You can actually go to our website, to marfooglenews.com. Not only can you find a full bibliography of every single article, tweet, video, picture, document that we just showed you here today, but you can also go over up to the top and go to play my video. Once you click on play my video, it will bring you to this page where you can actually list your uploaded video, and we will play it If you have something interesting, if you have a doorbell cam that you need us to see, if you had some weirdo try to get into your house, or you saw a UFO, or you saw Bigfoot, doesn't matter what it is, send it in to us, marfooglenews.com. Only rule is it's got to be yours. Don't send us other people's videos, and then you can send it right there to that page, and we'll share it with everybody. All right. Dex, thank you so much for your service tonight. I appreciate you.
Much love. Great job, brother.
And highly recommend that people get ready, have a plan with your friends and family, have extra food and water. Right now is the most crucial time. It's kind of a countdown right now. I'm hoping that we have a smooth transition of power and that everything goes smoothly. But I can almost guarantee that we're going to have some side ops going on this entire time. We are right at the cusp of a massive war. I think that North Korea and China are going to be the two things that really pop off the rest of it. So watch those like a hawk. And if you want to know the rest of the story, make sure to subscribe to both channels, not only here at Marfoogle TV, but over at Marfoogle News. Both are available over at marfooglenews.com. You can contact us at adam@marfooglenews.com or dex@marfooglenews.com, and you can follow us at Marfoogle over on X. Make sure to go check us out on all of the platforms. We will also, just to update you, we are talking to Restream, and we've gotten escalation going to try to get back on X, Rumble, DLive. Again, we'll probably do something else if the Restream thing isn't fixed, but it's really sad. There's something going on between my city and Restream and Comcast and the servers, something, and it's just a bunch of BS. So we're trying to fix it, and we're trying to get back on those platforms. For those of you that are watching on X through a link, hopefully we'll be back live on X soon. All right, you guys, be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. It's not a shoutro. It's not a... That just scared the butt out of me. It's not a shoutro. It's not an outro. It's a shoutro.